So guys, you're welcome to the live stream today. We're actually discussing, can anything good come out of Nigeria? Because there are a lot of people who are saying that they don't believe that something good can actually come out from the country. But I'm saying that if other countries were able to do it and they succeeded, Nigeria as a country, we can do it and we can succeed. And we'll be discussing a lot of issues, and we'll see how we can provide solutions to the problems of Nigeria. I want to say this to you, that the problems of Nigeria are not just peculiar to Nigeria. Other countries have had similar problems and they've been able to solve their problems. So, and I believe we can solve our problems. So we'll be dividing the problems of Nigeria into different stuff. We'll talk about corruption, we'll talk about security, we'll talk about many things. So let's jump straight into what we have today, and let's start discussing the problems of Nigeria and so some of the solutions that we can actually provide to the problems of Nigeria. Now, somebody has written something. He has PhD in global political economics and environmental studies. I don't know where he's from. Gourmet State University. His name is James Mampoke. Maybe I'm not calling his name right, but he provides a solution that is really fundamental to the Nigerian problem. Now, let's talk about a quick statistics about the Nigerian the Nigerian situation. A quick statistics about the Nigerian situation is this: Nigeria is currently the 7th largest economy in the world. Understand that. Secondly, Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Third thing I want to say is that Nigeria is the third country with the highest number of young people under the age of what? 20. So please note this. After you talk about China, you talk about the Indian, you will not talk about Nigeria. So where we are now, we're in a very delicate time, and except the issues of our country are properly dealt with, we have just a thin rope that the country may snap, and if the country snap, it's going to be catastrophe. So we have to actually sit down and look what is the problems of the country and how do we solve all these problems. Now, we'll talk about 4 things why Nigeria is yet to be a superpower. Number 1 is the lack of infrastructure. The other has to do with lack of innovation. The other has to do with old-fashioned and non-evidence-based economic policies. We talk about corruption. We talk about lack of continuity with one government or the other. And what I want to say this: if you look at China, to which Nigeria is running to and borrowing money, China that is investing all over Africa. China 30 years ago could not feed itself, but China is the single country in the world that has the largest amount of people who are millionaires. There are houses in China that nobody is staying. How did they get to that level? It was something that Napoleon Bonaparte, the French warrior, he was talking with his generals one of the days, and he said, guys, he pointed to a place on the map. He said, this is China. Those people, they are sleeping. Let them sleep. They are sleeping now. Say, please, let them sleep. The day they wake up, they will take over the land. They will take over the world. He said that over 100 years ago. Napoleon Bonaparte said that over 100 years ago. He said, China is sleeping. Let it sleep. You can Google it. Today, China is one of the world's superpower. So when I talk with Nigerians and I say, this thing is actually possible, we can change the country and all that, there are Nigerians who say, it's not possible. I believe it's possible. We can change the country. The solutions are within our system. We can sit down and change those things. You see, when we talk about a company like Facebook, one of the policies they have within themselves, if they want to solve a problem, they put a kind of stopwatch on the walls of their office, and then they said even sometimes they even refuse going home, and they sit there in their office, And then they say, we want to provide solutions to this problem. So you see people who go before the boardroom and they are thinking, searching, asking questions within themselves. What can we do? Where are we getting it wrong? What can we do? And all that. And then they come out with solutions and then they solve their problems. Or there are certain times where they need to finish a task or whatsoever. They stay in the office, they time themselves, and people start working in all that. So we need people, one of the things, who will sit down and brainstorm. See, in Nigeria, we need a referendum where people will sit down and brainstorm and say, okay, this is the problems of the country. Corruption is a problem. Security is a problem. Let's sit down and let's brainstorm and, okay, how do we solve the problem of corruption? How do we solve this problem and all that? So when people sit down and start brainstorming, also, okay, this is how we can actually solve this problem and all that. So let's go straight to what we have before us. One of them is the issue of lack of infrastructure. That is one of the problems. So no railway. Imagine the whole of Nigeria. There is poor urban planning. You can build a house here. You can put a factory where people are not supposed to be staying, or where factory is not supposed to be. You will see, as in it's just chaos in the country. It's just total chaos. And they talk about the issue of sanitation. They will talk about the issue of no electricity, no orderliness, there is debt, and there is all that. So let's talk about the infrastructure in Nigeria. Let's talk about the issue of roads. Why is it that in Nigeria that we don't actually have roads? Is it that we cannot get roads, or the leaders just choose not to create roads? Why can't we have roads? The leaders just choose not to have roads. So these are the issues that we are supposed to talk about. Do you know how many people die on the road? Do you know how much Nigeria is losing on the road? A report said Nigeria is losing over, 500 billion naira every single year to these issues of road. You want to transport from point A to point B. You want to transport goods. It takes something that is supposed to take 5 days, maybe 1 day, it's taking 2 days or 3 days. Why? Because the roads are not good. You know how many people are dying from our roads? How many times have we heard that a driver was driving and was trying to actually avoid a pothole, and in the process ran into somebody? Why? Because the roads are not good. So we have to look at this issue, because we're asking the question, can anything good come out of Nigeria? I sincerely believe that something good can come out of Nigeria. Then we move on to talk about the issues of talk about the issues that has to do with airports. Our airports, the moment you step into Murtala Mohammed Airport, or you step into any of these airports, you see that the country is suffering. There is no infrastructure in the country. You talk about the airports. You talk about Nigerian system where we don't have our own airlines. You are saying that we will grow? Go to Turkey. Go to Ethiopia. Go to all those countries. They have their own airlines. Why can't we have all these things? Why is our environment dirty? Why is our environment dirty, sir? Have you asked yourself the reason? The number one reason why our environment is dirty. Have you ever asked yourself why our environment is dirty? Can't the government employ people to clean the street? Are they not people who are poor? Are they not people who are jobless and the government can employ? It's just that we have leaders, not that they're not thinking. We have leaders who are not ready to do what it takes. And there are certain questions I want to put before the audience. The question is, what is holding Nigerian back? What is holding us back? Ask yourself, what is holding us back? Is it that we don't know what to do, or we just refuse to do what we are supposed to do? That's one thing. Why can't we learn to walk when others are walking? How many foreigners come to Nigeria? How many Nigerians go to foreign countries? Whether they are politicians, whether they are just ordinary individuals. Maybe they go there, they went there to school, or they went there for tourism, or they went there for anything. Why is it that what is working in other countries, we're not bringing it to Nigeria? You know, somebody said something that the problem of Nigeria is the people. That if you take all the Nigerians in the country and take them to Russia, for example, that or England or what, let's say the US, and you take all the Americans in the US and you take them to Nigeria, that in 10 years, America will be like Nigeria immediately after Nigerians arrive. And Nigeria will be like America after America arrives. So the problem is the people. The problem of Nigeria is the people. And we have to understand that very well. The problem of the country is the people. And except we solve that problem, we are not going anywhere. Except we solve that problem, we might just run around. But at the end of the day, we will not be able to solve the major things that actually affect us as a people. We might be beating around the bush like, oh, this is the stuff we need to do. But we never come to that point except we solve our problems. I'm saying this because the issue is that we have people who are doing great exploits around the world. The question is, why can't we in Nigeria do those exploits? Why is it that we're exporting talent every time out of Nigeria? Why is it that young people no more have faith in their nation? You see a young man growing up today now, no more have faith in their nation. You see people as in Nigeria is no more a place. The moment you talk about Nigeria, it's like, oh, you've just raised hell and all that. So people no more have faith in their nation, and if people no more have faith in their nation, it's not a really, really good sign, and it's something that we should actually talk about and prefer solutions to. And then let's not waste time on the stream. When we talk about the issues of Fulani herdsmen, we talk about the issue of Boko Haram extremism, we talk about the issues of electricity and all that, everything lies down at the point. The unrest, Niger Delta Avengers, the people that has to do with Boko Haram, the Fulani herdsmen and everything, it has to do with poor economic unrest. When you see people blowing pipelines, when you see people going and doing illegal bunkering, they are not doing it because they just want to do it. They are doing it because the economy doesn't support. The politicians who are campaigning for office, we just did the election this year now, they will have to ask themselves, 10, 20 years from now, these people who are sharing us, who are throwing hands in the air and say, hey, Shemo, hey, Shemo, hey, Shemo, hey, Shemo. Will these people tomorrow turn their backs and fight us? These people were giving guns to, go and kill this person, go and intimidate this person. Will these people not turn around tomorrow because there are no jobs to come and hunt us? You see, the problem of Nigeria is there are people, when we sit down and discuss with some of the Nigerians, they're like, well, you see, Nigeria is in a big problem. You just go and make it. Once you make it, it will be good. Yeah, once you make it, it will be good. But ask yourself something. When you become rich, I want to ask you two questions. When you become rich and the people around you are poor, the question is, are you really rich? That is one of the things. The second thing again is, when you are rich and there are many people who are poor, are you not seeing what is even happening in Nigeria now? Nobody is safe. Anybody can be kidnapped at any time. Anybody can even be killed. Even the rich, when there are too many poor people, even the rich are even afraid. Even the rich are even afraid. How many policemen can you work with? When you are living in a state where Do you know how many people are actually jobless in Nigeria? You talk about the NNPC job. There was a job that has to do with NNPC in Nigeria. 26 million people applied for jobs. The question is, how many people will NNPC take? Let me inflate the figures to 10,000, which is not even up to, I don't think they will even take up to 1,000 people. But 26 million people applied. It shows you that the people of Nigeria, they are either either they are totally unemployed or they are underemployed. So the question, nobody is safe in the country right now. You talk about the issue of electricity. How can our country grow? How can something good come out of Nigeria when we cannot have electricity? How can the students come back from school and read their books? How? How do you expect to power the economy? If you cannot provide electricity and people are providing electricity by themselves, the question is, how do you expect the economy to boom? How do you expect things not to shoot up? How do you expect the person who is producing things in the farm, how do you expect them to preserve their stuff? How do you expect their life expectancy in Nigeria to increase? These are the things. How do you expect to diversify the economy when you cannot provide simple power? How do you expect the environment to be quiet, to be free from pollution, and to be free of all the diseases that come with all these things? These are the things. Another problem is the issue of economic mismanagement. There is economic mismanagement in our country. The question is, incompetent leaders in one part of it. Another part has to do with the craze after oil. Before the oil days, we had agriculture. Even we still had agriculture today. But people saw after oil came that agriculture is the poor man business. So a country that was once training other countries, go and check it in history. Other people, white countries, they were coming. How were you planting palm fruit? How were you planting cassava? How were you planting? They were coming to Nigeria to come and learn. But there were some elites that discovered oil. And everything went down and down and down. And the country has never been the same. There is inflation, things are just skyrocketing, and it's just that. And then talk about corruption. The question is, can anything good come out of Nigeria? Corruption. There's a parable in Nigeria that says the fish starts to rot from the head. The fish starts to rot from the head. Nigeria, except we deal decisively with the issue of corruption, we are not going to progress. Except we deal decisively. Corruption is a venom. No man can be beaten by a snake. I heard or read of the story of a man who was beaten by a snake and he just shook it off. He didn't take it serious. He felt normal after the man died later. See, listen. If you were beaten by a scorpion, if you were stung by a scorpion, you need to treat yourself. Someone has to come to rescue. If you have been beaten by a snake, someone has to come to rescue. Why? Because that venom has to be taken away. The venom of corruption, if it is not taken away, we can sit down and discuss all the problems. We can say the constitution is the problem. We can say another problem is the light. We can say the problem is this, except corruption is taken away. Whether it is corruption in the judicial system, whether it is corruption in the schools, a lecturer saying that a student must sleep with him, whether it is corruption in politics, whether it is politicians who are saying that they want immunity, until corruption is taken away from the Nigerian society, we're not going anywhere. There is a particular minister in one of the African countries. When he was indicted for corruption, he went to the president of the country and he said, "Sir, I have been indicted, and being indicted now, can you help me?" The president told him, "There is nothing I can do." Do you know what that man did? The minister did. The minister went to commit suicide. I am not saying people should commit suicide. I'm not of that opinion. But what I'm saying is, until there is a stiffer, judgment on corruption, until the Nigerian society frowns at corruption, we are not going to progress. Until the Nigerian society frowns at corruption, not just talk about corruption. If they hear anything about corruption, until we frown at this thing called corruption, we are not going to progress. Quote me anywhere. We can go anywhere. We can do anything until this issue is solved. We are not going anywhere. So please, let's know this. Corruption has to be fought. Corruption has to be fought. You talk about the effects of corruption in Nigeria. It creates lack of service, lack of quality in service. People don't want to put quality in their service. You see, people don't want to put everything into their service. You see, the students no more wants to read in order to get the grade. Why? Because there is somebody who is not reading who is getting A1. It causes lack of justice. And when there is corruption, what do you expect? There will be unemployment. The people who are supposed to have the jobs are no more having the jobs. They are no more having the jobs. And it's a very, very, very big problem. There will be poor health and hygiene. There will be pollution. There will be accidents. There will be failure of genuine research. How many of our people are doing research in our universities? What about the effects of corruption in the Nigerian society? Talk about disregard for officials. How many of our officials have respect? The moment that they hear that you're a politician, that is a crime already. Is it the police? They've lost that respect. You see, every person in Nigeria has even lost their respect. There is loss of dignity in Nigeria. Whether it's from churches up to schools, up to the home. There's no respect. There's no regard for parents. There's no regard for the nation. There is no regard for the president. There's no regard for anybody in Nigeria anymore. Because corruption is so endemic. There is lack of respect for leaders. There is lack of faith and trust in the government. There is the aversion for joining the post linked to corruption. How about the effect of corruption in the Nigerian economy? There is decrease in foreign investment. Nobody wants to come and invest. There is delay in growth. There is lack of development. And there is differences in trade ratios. So you see all these stuffs. Then there is another form of corruption that is called a corruption that has to do with using mediums of or media of monopolies, where you see people because they have certain affiliation with certain political parties or they are supporting certain political parties, they've supported a campaign, a person who has campaigned and he has won now, and then they are saying that such a person who has won should be given certain rights, and then they bring monopoly, they frustrate other people who are trying to come up, and it destroys the spirit of Nigeria. Talk about venture capital. How many Nigerians who have ideas, how many of them have funds to actually fund their ideas? They are very few. They have to secure investment from other countries. Why? Because it's a very, very big problem in our nation. It's a very big problem in our nation. And then I want to talk about the issue of security today in Nigeria. The life of people are no more precious. The life of a cow today is more precious than the life of people. We see leaders who hear that people are being killed, and if you look at that demeanor, you look at their faces, you look at their expression when they are talking about the death. oh, we regret that these people have been killed. There is no emotion. There are no people who are crying. There are no tears. Oh, we send our condolence. There is nobody's. We're becoming desensitized. That sensitivity is no more there. There is no more. We're losing our sanity in the country. We're losing our sanity. We're losing our sanity. We're losing our sanity. I'm saying that we're losing our sanity. Security. See, there cannot be prosperity. Good things cannot come out of Nigeria when security has not been handled. When security has not been trashed. It's not possible. Security has to be trashed as a matter of concern. If not, we're going nowhere. Security has to be trashed. Do you know how many widows are being made every single day in Nigeria? Do you know how many orphans are being made on every single day? Do you know how many businesses are being destroyed? Do you know the damage that Boko Haram is doing? Do you know the damage that the foreign herdsmen are doing every single day? And listen, the reason we are shouting is because there is nothing like stagnancy in life. When it comes to nation, when we talk about this word, there is no nation. There is nothing like stagnancy. We've watched Nigeria before our eyes go from bad to worse. Before our eyes, we've watched this country go from bad to worse. And except you and I do something, if we just throw our hands, we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to go anywhere. The battle for the soul of Nigeria is not just a, well, I want to travel out of the country. It does not matter. If you want to travel out of the country, you can travel out of the country. There are people who say, oh, leave that thing. I know that. Nigeria can be changed. There are people who are the enemies of the nation. If you read the Bible, the book of Nehemiah, when Jerusalem was being burnt down by fire and the gates were destroyed and the city had no walls, because in those days they had something like fence. The fence, they are thick as walls, like very, very thick and all that, like the Jericho walls and all that. Then they had gates, but this city was invaded. The gates were destroyed, and then the walls, they came down. There was somebody who was called Nehemiah. He was serving the king in a foreign country. He was called a king's cupbearer. And he asked his brethren, asked his guys, he said, guys, what is the situation like in our country? Oh, they gave him report. They said, listen, our country, this is the problem, and this is the problem, and this is the problem. The Bible said when he heard of it, he was saddened, and he did something about it. He prayed. That is one of the things he did. You know, today that he was so saddened to the point where he said that the king who he was serving, he said, listen, young man, what is the problem? I've never seen you sad all the years you've been serving me. It's like you are like a PA, or you are the one serving President Trump, such a honorable person in the world. You are so joyous, and all of a sudden you come up with this face and they ask you, what is the problem? And the young man said, sir, this is the situation in my country. The people are dying. There is no security. The wars are opening. Give him everything. Okay, he said, okay, what do you want to do now? He said, please, can you give me the chance to go back to my country, and so that I can do something about my country? Nobody is saying you should go back to Nigeria and do something about the country. Maybe you've left the country. There is something you could do. You may not necessarily have to go back, but you can do something. Just think, I don't have to tell you what to do. There are people who are saying, all the Nigerians who are abroad who are shouting they should come back home. That is very, very reasonable. whether you are in or outside the country, there is something you can do. After all, those who are outside the country, when they send money home to those who are in the country, those who are in the country don't shout and say, and you get this up. So there is something they can do. Whether you are in or you are out, there is something you can do. Posterity is going to judge us. Posterity is going to judge us. That there were people who saw the condition of their country and they did nothing about it. Nigerians no more have faith in their nation. We sing "Arise to Compatriot Nigeria," the national anthem, every single day in school. I pledge to serve Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. How many of our people are loyal? How many people are faithful? How many people are serving the country? Take away all the benefits from the political office. How many of these politicians are willing to become politicians? How many of them? They are not. Can anything good come out of Nigeria? I sincerely believe that. When we get our leadership right, the people who are ruling us, the forest has changed, but the monkeys have not changed. Please listen to that. The forest has changed, but the monkeys have not changed. When we get patriotism right, you see, Nigerians are not patriotic to a certain extent. There are many good Nigerians, but many of them just choose to sit on the sideline. They refuse to do anything. And then in my research of this topic, some people were saying that Nigeria is going to be good when we take away religion, when we take away churches. And Nigeria is going to be rich and all that. And that the nation is not developed by just praying and all that. I say these are the enemies of the church. Because if you like, add the church to where there was no church. If you like, take the church from where there was a church. It does not make a country grow. The people who are doing wrong, who are stealing, is it because it's church? No. So when religious leaders, when parents, when musicians, when teachers, when you and I start to speak against wrongs, our country is going to progress. When we live fully and do the needful, our country is going to progress. I want to end with this. If it was done in other countries, it can be done in Nigeria. Can anything good come out of Nigeria? Yes. Something good can come out of Nigeria. Thank you and bye for now. See you tomorrow live stream, the same time, 8:30 Nigerian time. Bye.